So, is there any audio on?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh boy.
Good. Right. Better get this thing started then. So, hello everyone. Welcome, ladies, gents, anything in between, to IRL Season 12, the F1 season, Round 1 here at Portimao, or Portugal. I'm joined with two lovely people, Laggy TM, also known as Lewis, and we've got Jared as well that's joining with us. Probably you know him as the co-owner of the league. You know, if you don't know him, where have you been? Don't have a clue. Currently in the lobby as well. We've got a lovely track guide with Mr. Millam, who's going to show you around the Portimao circuit. You should be able to hear him if you want to say hi quickly, Lewis.
Good evening.
And Jared, is your voice allowed to be shared? Yeah, everyone can hear you. All good.
My voice is allowed to be shared. Yeah.
Good. So yeah, we've got Mr. Millam currently in the garage. He's going to come out in a second and you're going to have a look at the Portimao circuit. Pretty new circuit for the F1 calendar, for the F1 drivers. Have we raced here before, Jared, in this league? I don't believe we have we?
No, we didn't race last season here because Cody's decided to have this track very late. But as we were doing the season, but we thought, you know what, we're going to have 15 rounds this year, and Imola and Portimao and Jeddah on the calendar. It's going to be a very exciting race, I believe, Portimao, as it's new basically to everybody. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah,
it's going to be an exciting one. Obviously, you'll be joined by me every single week, so if you ever need some, lordy attention, you've got plenty of it in the upcoming weeks with the IRL. Also, we'll be doing a steward's role as well, so be particularly nice to me. I might have to nice you in the stewards. Hopefully we'll get some clean racing as well for the whole season. Personally, Jared, I know we haven't really had a lot of experience with the track, but have you got any feelings towards Portimao, or is it just hit and hope and see what happens?
Just let's stamp and send it, really. I'm going to have a bit of luck around here because, I'm not that quick, obviously, as some of these guys are doing mid-16s, some guys doing a 15, so I'm at the 17s, right? But the track in general is nice to drive. It's got a couple of dodgy corners, obviously, but my objective with, obviously, Matt's my teammate, is just to score points as every race, really, and just build up for, not a Constructors title fight, because we know we're not going to win that, but just get high, maybe 5th this year in the Constructors, and try and get something in the drivers, but the main thing is to have fun around here, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think when it's a new track, it's all a bit exciting and new for everyone, so they're just trying to get to grips with it, have some enjoyment, and trying to crash, I think, is the main thing as well. I know personally on one of the new tracks, I know speaking a long time ago, I'm showing my age here, guys, so relax, but I remember when India first came out in the F1 games, and I remember I sweated that track so hard. I love that track. I wish it would come back. I know a lot of people don't share the same feelings, but for me, it was one of my best tracks back in the day in different leagues, and it was just phenomenal. I made sure my target, I was a lot younger back then as well, my target was always not to crash, and I never did at India. It was one of my biggest accomplishments, was never crashing at a track, and it was India, and I've had any incidents. I did really well, got a few podiums in the leagues that I was in as well, so it is a nice feeling, especially trying to get to grips with the new track. It is a wheel track. I think everyone can agree with that. There are a few traction zones, but obviously the sharp bends, especially the left, right, and the middle sector, it's really challenging for somebody on a pad to execute that to the maximum. Obviously, we're watching Millam go around now, doing quite a good job. Actually, I saw him on the hard tyres earlier, getting to grips with everything. But now he's got the softs on, feeling very comfortable. How are you feeling about it, Millam, anyway, the track? I know, is it one of your favourites, or...?
It's a nice track. I've raced around it before. Can be difficult at times. I know degradation's quite good, so the tyres can go a long way, especially if you've gone on them and they can benefit you. But yeah, you just got to be careful with some of the corners that are a bit off camber, especially on the double right with the awkward curve. You don't want to go near it, otherwise it just auto spins you. So yeah, a few areas for them to look out for, but other than that, it should produce some good racing.
Yeah, hopefully. I know there is a few key corners on the track. You're coming up to one right now, turn 5, which is the hairpin. There is a Portuguese name for it, but my Portuguese isn't the best, so I'm going to leave that one to the Spanish speakers and the Portuguese speakers. The hairpin, I think, for a lot of people is very tricky. And also you've got turn 8 coming up, this sharp right-hander. It's known as the Samsung corner. It's very, very difficult. It sort of tightens up on the exit, and obviously you're undulating uphill, so you've really got to be careful. It's a bit of a blind spot, especially when you're going over the crest. So is there any tips that you'd give to people, Millen, when you're going through that section? Or
especially for turn 8, just don't touch the curb, because if you touch the curb, it will offset the car and it will spin you, and you've just got to be careful on the traction and don't rush it, because if you do, you will spin, especially with the fact that it rises on the exit. Other than that, people should be alright. The hairpin's very deceiving because it seems quite wide, and then on the exit it tightens up quite a lot. So I expect a few people to be going a bit wide there if they're not careful, especially obviously just the general traction zones. It's a bit difficult around there.
Yeah, I think we had a chat with I think it was Ross the other day, trying to understand the concept of slow in and fast out. And I think this track sums it up quite well, especially in F1 terms. You want to be not a bit cautious, maybe a bit tentative going on the way in, but if you can get a good exit, you're going to be flying around this track, as Millen keeps setting personal bests, obviously in the 18s now, just showing us just a bit of what he can do. Obviously he's not going full speed. I need to actually be able to talk and keep up with him while we're going around this track guide. But yeah, just having a look through the season as well. We've got a lot of tracks on the calendar that are fresh to the drivers, Jared. So is there any other track that you're either nervous for or excited for? I can see obviously Imola's on there as well, and I believe Saudi at the end of near the last stage of the season anyway. So is there any of them that you're excited for?
Well, Imola and Jeddah are going to be nerve-wracking, as they're not really that easy to overtake, to be honest. Especially Jeddah with the walls and everything, you've got to get a good run and you've got to be smart in your decisions. And some of these drivers in F2 going against some of the big guys in F1, so they're going to have to be a bit more respectful, wheel to wheel, if they can keep with the pace. But Imola could be a good track, but my track I'm really looking forward to is Monaco, because hopefully we can have full grid and make me win the race. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes, as we've got Portugal today. It's very nerve-wracking for the first round for every driver to see what they can do.
Yeah, I feel like Portimao, it has a few similarities with Monaco in the sense that qualifying is quite important. Dirty air around this track affects the car massively. If you are the lead car in this situation, or if you've got a lot of cars ahead of you, you're going to struggle. You are really going to struggle with turbulent air. But obviously, if you're, as you can see from Millen's perspective, if you're just flying around on your own, you can really get to grips with the track, find the limits, and go flat out. Obviously, the calendar at the moment, just for you who haven't seen it on the Discord or want to know, obviously, the future races that we've got here in IRL, we've got Portimao, round 1, as you can see, having a bit of a track map guide with Millen. Today, also we've got Silverstone, which is the second round. Third round, we've got Monaco, as Jared mentioned earlier. Also we've got Suzuka, which is round 4. Montreal, round 5. Round 6 is Austria. Round 7 is Jeddah. Round 8 is China. Round 9 is Zandvoort. Round 10, Sao Paulo, or Brazil. You've got Mexico City, which is round 11, which is quite a personal favourite track of mine in recent years anyway. Singapore, most technically difficult track. I don't think anybody can argue with me on that. Also, you've got Austin, Imola, and then to round out the entire season, which I think a lot of people will be happy with, which will be Bahrain. It's nice to see Bahrain, in the latter stages of the year, instead of the first round, which a lot of people seem to have come accustomed to. Was there any influence in the decision, Jared, or was it just sort of like a vote between you?
Well, it wasn't really a vote or any influence, really. Paco did the calendar. I gave him a bit of criticism and everything, but to be honest, I like the calendar as it is. It's very similar to another league, but he's also put his own little flair in it. Obviously, a couple of tracks which are a bit different, but the track I'm definitely looking forward to this year is China, because it's just a shocking track in general. But the calendar in general, he's done a very good job, and we're happy with the calendar, and it's going to be a very exciting season.
Right. Well, we've talked enough about the tracks. We've seen Millen go around as well. He's doing a fantastic job. We can continue watching him for the time being. If he did want to pit, then that's his choice. Get on a brand new set of tyres. We'll see what he wants to do. But it gives us a bit of a wiggle down the straight. But we'll talk about the drivers. Obviously, a league is nothing without its drivers, as a lot of you guys know. And we've got quite a hefty grid. I think we've nearly got more reserves than we've got drivers, which shows just how much people really want to be involved with IRL, especially with the leagues combined, and it's made it very very, very competitive, and it's going to be, a mixed bag. And I'm not too sure who I'm going to vote for, but is there anybody on the grid, Jared, who maybe thinks a dark horse for this season, who potentially could win the championship or just be involved in the top scraps?
Well, it's definitely not Sondre. That guy's a fraud. But other than that, I think if Curtis, doesn't bottle and actually decides to be competitive this year, I think he could be a dark horse to win the championship. Obviously Alfie as well, and Cameron. But obviously Lee Kelly's racing today as a reserve. So if he does get a full-time seat, I'd have to watch out for him as well. But Lewis is my main man to win this title this year.
Oh, there we go. Millum, I know you wanted a seat in the league. I imagine you'll get your chance at some point. Who for you is the dark horse? Who should be clinching the title? Is there any favourite?
I think George's right. The favourite has to be Lewis. In other leagues, he's very high up in the divisions, so he is known as a bit of a bottle job in his time of league racing. So based on pure pace, I'm expecting Lewis definitely to be quite up there at the top every weekend. But obviously there's Alfie and Cam who are very quick as well, especially on their day, who could pose a few problems, especially if Lewis bottles. They could definitely be up there. But they're my main three, I think, that we're going to see throughout the season going for it.
I think looking further down the grid as well, we've got the return of Ross Denham, Tech 3-1 Racing. We've also got the return Luke Baker, Matt Romano, a lot of familiar names on the list. And I think some of these drivers, they've been talking a big game. I've been hearing assists being turned off. I've been hearing I'm going to start racing a lot cleaner and a lot better. But it is all talk at the moment. Will they deliver? I don't know if you guys have any opinions on the matter, but there has been a lot of speculation in the paddock that these guys are going to give it their all.
Well, to be honest, with Ross, he's actually proven with his no ABS. We've actually restricted it in one of the lobbies, and he was actually keeping it with me. And I'm not saying I'm the quickest here, obviously, but he was doing a quite good job. I've got to give him that credit. But as I said, there's still time to wait, and let's see what he can do in the race, obviously. But Matt Romano as well, he's obviously not going to do qualifying as his motto. But I think the race, he could get a strategy and score some points for us. He might not be the quickest, but he has got the brains at the tier with a strategy call. And then Luke, unfortunately, ain't racing today, but he could get some points maybe in a couple races to come. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Sondre won't, because he'll be into the wall.
Well, I'm going to put a name in the hat at the moment. I'm going to go Bran. Haven't really mentioned anything about Bran. He's normally pretty solid. I remember commentating him in numerous other leagues of him being up there. Race of Champions, I believe he was doing quite well in an Alfa Romeo, if he remembers that. But I'm going to stick his name in there. I don't know how good he is. I don't really know how good anybody is at the moment. I've not seen anybody's pace, so it's a nice fresh reminder for me when I do get into the comms during the race. But I'm going to stick Bran's name in the hat. I think a good performance from him today is on the cards, especially if he can knuckle down and stop doubting himself. I think that's Bran's main problem, is he gets himself down, he gets onto himself quite a bit. So if he just relaxes, focuses, he's going to be up there. So I'll stick Bran's name in the hat as well. Just looking through the grid, we've got Cam Rules as well. I think Cam Rules, I'll stick his name in the hat as well, see what he can do. So they're going to be my two drivers I'll watch closely in this race. Obviously, I will be giving coverage to anybody and everyone, especially if you're involved in battles. If you've got some crispy battles for me, then yeah, I'm going to be viewing you basically all race. But yeah, I'll stick them two names in the hat. Who else are we looking at as well? We've got the likes of the two Irishmen's, or Irish women's. We've got Infinity and obviously Gravity as well, making a return. They were in the lower tiers in IRL, stepping up to the big leagues now. You've got massive competition to midfield places, top end places. Do you see them guys doing anything during the races, or do you think it's just a case of keeping it clean, seeing what you can do and trying your best? I'll start with you, Jared.
Well, as I said, the grid's a lot different this year with no Matthew Alder dominating, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know everybody's pace. I know a couple of drivers, obviously. I have slated Sondre a little bit and he's getting a bit rattled under his helmet. Same with Cameron, as he's probably going to bin it. But other than that, Sondre, Cameron, I think if they get away, they could be up there. You could have Terminator, I think it was Hamrick or something. You could have them guys up there fighting for something today. So you have to give it race by race, maybe 3 rounds asking the same question, and I can give you a better answer. But for now, I'm really don't know who's going to be up there and doing well in the first round.
Millum, is there anyone else you've seen anybody's pace that you think, oh, been looking pretty tasty, or?
I haven't really looked at the grid, to be honest. I just think that this race in particular, to start the season, it's just going to be a way for people to find their feet, assess where they are on the grid, try and get a few points on the board without any issues, really. Oh, fucking hell. Especially for, people like Matt Romano, we all know he's quite, what's the word, not laid back, but he's very strategic with his race. Obviously, he doesn't qualify, does he? So, a few people like that, and further down the back, just be trying to get points. And yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've had enough of the drivers. I think it's time. The spotlight needs to go back on me for a second. I'm going to tell these guys the format of everything that's going on. You're probably looking and thinking, where's the race? What's happening? Why are we just watching someone go around the track? So I'm going to explain the format to you guys. Obviously, it's a brand new season. We're testing a few things out as well. I did a poll in one of the group chats and see what people said, and people seem to enjoy the idea. So let's see, and let's go through everything. So as you can see at the moment, we've got a track guide with Millum. It's just him going around Portugal. We will be doing this throughout the whole season as well, so we'll be having a track map, a track guide, and we'll have a look at see Millum's pace as well, see what he can do lap time wise during it. I'll be commentating with a random driver from the grid, whether they're participating, there may be a reserve. So just because you're not participating in the races, even if you're a reserve, just make sure your DMs are open, especially on the Sunday. I'll give you a quick DM and I'll try and get you into the commentary booth for a bit of a chat. Obviously, we've got Jared in today. Obviously, he's one of the league owners and one of the league setup people, so I really wanted to see his insight and give his opinion on the season so far. So Jared was always the obvious choice, so it would have been Sondre. Next week I'll reveal probably at the end of the race who I'm going to be picking for the next week. So for example, we've got Britain next. I'll probably pick a driver who's probably performed the best in the race, or we're picking a driver at random just to see where we fit into the schedule wise. Obviously, if you're not available during that time, just give me a DM and we'll make sure it's somebody else, so there's no worries there. Also, doing a bit of a reset. So it's nice to have a bit of a chat before the races. I think with a lot of commentary people, they sort of jump into the races and there's not a lot of enthusiasm or build-up to get people really excited for what's coming up. So I thought I'd put a spin on things, get people involved, and thank you to obviously Millum and Jared for participating today, and thank you to Millum probably for the season's work that he's going to be doing with the track guides as well. Also, format-wise, the commentary. They'll be given sort of a 2-hour slot. I'll be probably starting around 4 o'clock and finishing obviously when the race finishes and doing podiums, but I've got that sort of 4 till 6 slot that we'll be doing all the commentary stuff. Obviously I will be doing as well at the end of the race, you'll have your top 3 to interview. That's pretty bog standard. If you're performing really well in the race, then you obviously get to spot in the commentary, but I'll also be doing my driver of the day. So my driver of the day could be anybody on the grid. If I've watched you and think you performed really well, I'll get you in the commentary booth for a bit of a chat. Obviously, if I do feel that one of the driver of the days is one of the top 3, I will try not to. I'll try not to be biased towards that. I'll try and pick somebody outside the top 3 to obviously join us who I think's performed really well. But if it is one of the top 3s, I'll just be choosing somebody at random to come and have a chat with us as well. But anyway, back to the track. That's just sort of the brief overview of everything that I want to do this season. And obviously, like I say, thank you to Jared, Lewis, and I'll give Sondre a shout out as well for giving me the opportunity. I will go back to the track because I want to see Millum's perspective of Portugal. He's had a few laps to get into the groove of things. So Millum, if you want to give us a quick lap of Portugal with a bit of commentary to see, obviously discuss the gears, discuss obviously throttle inputs and discuss braking, just to give people an idea of what we've got in store for today's race.
Right then, so obviously it's a long straight to start with, a lot of overtakes I'm expecting, especially into turn 1. But dirty air is a big factor around there with all the corners. Turn 1's quite a tricky one. You brake near just before the 50, but you've got to be careful on the outside. It's very easy to get warnings and invalids. Same with turn 2. It's a very tight corner, and then you've got to get on the traction early, but be careful and then flick it left for this off-camber left. The second little straight down into the hairpin, which tightens up, which is quite deceiving because it doesn't seem like that in the first place, and then you get to it and you think, Jesus Christ. Also very awkward on traction. Got sometimes double upshift, depending on how your tyres are. You've got one fast right into the next. This corner's very awkward because it's off camber, and if you touch the curb, it will spin you around. And you've got to be careful on the traction as well there. A lot of traction zones around here, which are quite difficult and easy to mess up. The next fast right, it's like kind of blind to be honest. You don't see the apex at first, so it's a wide entry. Into this left here, we're coming into the final sector now. Another off-camber again, with a quick upshift off the exit. The penultimate corner, you go wide and then tuck in to get the best, straightest exit. You hang wide and then come as tight as you can to the inside here, within the limits, to round off the lap. The DRS is very late, just before the line it starts, so people will need good exits if they want to do well.
Yeah, wow, pretty good lap as well. I was hoping for a bit of a spin halfway through, but yeah, get your composure, that was good. But yeah, as you can see from Millen's perspective, obviously a wheel user going around the track, it's nice, good representation for you guys. Obviously I was going to do one, but I think I'd save your eyes from burning, especially me going around this track. Oh, disgusting. But yeah, there's Portimao for you. Got an experienced veteran driver, obviously going around, just exploring the limits, seeing the best lines to possibly go for. But just a message to all drivers: give it your all. Go for it. I want to see the best drivers competing at the best possible places. I don't want to see any flunkies that are half-hearted. I want to see full heart, full beans all the time. These games, they're not the best. I do want to praise Codemasters for a few things they've done, but obviously they need to get the game 100% right first. But, a poor craftsman blames their tools, and we're not going to blame the game for your performance. So let's see what you guys can do. I'm really looking forward to the race this evening. Obviously, the last thing I will go through with Jared as well is just the format for IRL. Is there any format changes with IRL that the people need to know of, or is the point system the same, standing system the same, and obviously the track layouts, we've already been through all of that, Jared. Is there anything else you need to add?
No, not really. The point system's the same. Obviously, you get, I believe, 2 points in quality to qualify first, so, getting pole may be more crucial, as normal. But no, nothing's really changed, to be honest. Obviously, the tiers merging and everything, that's the only big change we had. And obviously no FP this year, which is a shame. Maybe it could come back, but possibly a GT Sports tier with Mr. Matt Romano in his league we could be doing. But we'll have to wait and see right now. Other than that, there's no really big changes or anything like that.
Okay, well, you've heard it here from me. You've heard it here from Jared as well. We've got approximately about 10 to 15 minutes before the race lobby actually gets underway and we get an invite. Obviously, I've got sort of a name for what we've talked about. The IRL Lounge, I think, is quite a nice ring to it to sort everything out. I don't know if Sondre or Jared would agree. But it's nice just to have a chat to the drivers and a chat to people, just to see their perspectives. Make it a bit more personal as well. It's nice to have a personality to the name. We don't know these drivers as Laggy TM or, Jared. We know these drivers as, the competitors on the track. But we also want to know the personal side as well. We want to know what you're thinking inside the helmet, what goes on in your head when you're doing a hot lap, especially around a track as demanding as Portimao. But yeah, I'd like to thank Jared for joining me. I know it's been a new experience for yourself, so thank you for bearing with and sorting everything out. Also, with the next 10 minutes, I'll stay with Millen. We'll have a bit of a chat about, obviously, the grid, hopes for the season, and obviously hopes for Lewis as well, because Lewis does want to get a spot in the grid and see where Lewis is at mentally with everything. But yeah, no, thank you very much for joining us, Jared. I imagine you want to get into the actual lobby now and set things up. But yeah, I'll discuss about getting somebody else in, maybe next week now, seeing what they've got to say, and I'll probably pick a name from a hat and see where we go from there. But yeah, like I say, cheers, Jared.
Yep, thanks for having me, and I'll see you guys next time.
See you later.
In a bit.
Right, now he's gone, let's talk. No, I'm joking. No, just back to the racing, Lewis. Obviously, watching you go around, trying to get your eye in, obviously playing different games other than F1. How are you feeling with your F1 skill? I know you wanted to get back into the league racing scene. Was unfortunate not to get a seat, but here you are now. And how are you feeling? Do you think you could possibly compete with these guys, or do you think maybe a bit more practice is needed?
I think maybe, obviously, I've been on a lot of other racing games. I'll take my little break from the game. So probably a little more practice needed if I want to be fighting at the front, which I believe I can do based on previous pace, obviously, especially last season. I definitely could have. I was on the pace with some of the guys at the front now. But yeah, I forgot they were doing sign-ups, so that's why I'm not on the grid, which is why I'm reserved, because I just forgot. Yeah, I think a bit more practice and I could be up there. Obviously, for the other drivers, a lot of practice is required just to maintain and stay at the top. because obviously a lot of people will be practicing to try and get to that top level, especially on this grid as well. There's a lot of good drivers in here that can compete very well. But yeah, it's different. It's weird going to this game again. So yeah.
Well, last thing I'll say is just from you personally, while you're here, what would be a good season for you, position-wise, and what would be a disappointing season for you in your eyes?
For me personally, if I was racing this season, I'd obviously want top 5 in the drivers, 100%. Obviously aiming for that first, because that's what you do. You go for the first, don't you? But mainly just to stay consistent, especially on points finishes and everything. That was one of my weaknesses when I, really did race and committed to it back in the day. A couple of years ago, I was quite inconsistent with my drives. I had the good performance and the bad performance. So if it was me, that's obviously what I'd be aiming to do, and I'm sure a lot of the drivers will be aiming to do that too. Especially, consistency is key. So staying consistent is going to open that championship.
No, exactly. I think you've summed it up quite well. I think everyone's aiming for the gold. Nobody wants to be second best at all. But like you say, you've got to be realistic with yourself. Have you put the time and effort in, just hypothetically, have you put the time and effort in to achieve the gold medal, the IRL championship? Have you put the time in to be the best at this track? It is difficult. We have a lot of commitments outside of F1, and it is difficult, obviously, to maintain all of that. I know personally I work pretty much every day, and I only get a few sort of spare hours here and there to sort of do comms or do any racing or actually enjoy myself. So it can be difficult to spare that sort of time to do a bit of practicing for F1. But no, it's been good to have a chat with you. Obviously, I will see you again next week if you are available as well. It will be Silverstone, so I don't know how you feel about Silverstone.
It's mid-track.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're going to have a bit of a 10-minute break. I'll join the lobby. You'll see all the drivers in the lobby. But we'll have a bit of a 10-minute break, have a bit of a refreshment, and then we'll be straight back for the race. So thank you guys for the continued support as well. I think it's received quite a good reception on the commentary as well. So I think we will continue this if people are still up for it. But yeah, we'll have about 10-minute break. I need a drink with all this talking, running out of oxygen. And I'll see you in the lobby in about 10 minutes. So I don't know about you, Millum.
I've just got word. I might be able to race.
Oh, okay. So
Sandra,
there you go.
if you're on standby, there is an open seat last minute. Could you be able to race? You could be able to. Yes.
There you go. The stars have aligned. So this practice session wasn't for nothing, by the sounds of it.
Got my eye in. Here we go.
Everything works out for the best. So we will be seeing Lewis on the grid. So hopefully you'll be living up to the expectations of top 5. I'll hold you to that.
I hope so.
But yeah, I'll give 10 minutes, guys. We'll have a bit of a break, and then I'll see you out for quali. So yeah. Cheers for the continued support, and join me in 10 minutes and we'll sort everything out. So yeah, see you in a sec.
I've got to grab food, Mum's fucking begging.
All right. We've had our bit of an interval. And we're back. We are back for the start of Portugal qualifying. Got about 15, 14 seconds and the drivers will be out on track. And we're going to really see what these guys can do around the streets of the Algarve International Circuit. If you hear a few munches in the background, I'm a peckish hamster, so I need some grub to keep me going for the rest of the race. If you're wondering what it is, it's a really healthy meal, that's all I'm going to say. And wow, that's a dramatic start to the season. It's wet. So we've got wet conditions at the start of the Portimao qualifying session. So that's going to really shake up, obviously, strategies. It's really going to shake up, obviously, setups and, obviously, which tyre to go on as well. We don't know whether it's going to be wets or intermediates. As we see everybody on the left-hand side, this is everybody participating today in the league. You've got, I don't know if the order will be the same come the end of quali. We've got Nice and Spicer. We've also got Lewis 11004. We've got Paco Suarez _19. We've got Gravity _151. We've got Brandon Glover _ We've got Aspect _05 _ We've got Toxic Tomato 55389. We've got Cam Rules 225. We've got Taze _Leroy. We've got KIS F1. I'm pretty sure I struggled to pronounce the name last time as well, so just DM me what you'd like to be called in the chat. I don't really want to be spelling it out like that. Or like Kais or something like that, I don't know. We've obviously got TNR _Sondre or TNR _Zexa. We've got Bugatti. We've got NSR MCFC 2020. We've got Infinity _147. We've got IRL _Neon. We've got J Pudan. We've got Tech 31 Racing. We've got Sir Hamrick. We've got Lucky TM. And we've got C Tice Demon. So let's see what we've got out on the track as well while I get all this sorted. As we can see, teammates nearly colliding in Kevin and Bran going around the track. Let's get all the telemetry up, see what we can do. It's got all the tyres, fastest times as well. We don't need the tyres, we know what tyres they're on. Full track map, and then we can go from there. There's already been a spin in Sector 2. Hopefully there's no crashes inbound from that as well. Bit of a congealed mess by the looks of it at the moment. I imagine the party is going to be quite fun as we go around, as I believe somebody is starting a lap. It's not Nice and Spicer. Who's starting their lap? Here he is. It's the Williams. Down to turn 1. Oh, it looks like he's going to drift wide, but he's not. It's a phenomenal start. As you see, yellow flags in Sector 3. Hopefully no compromising back markers on the lap. Oh, as the back end nearly slips out, not once but twice. Coming into the hairpin section as well. In 7th gear, probably don't want to go any higher than that. Trying to keep the revs as low as possible as he enters first in these treacherous conditions, as the back end's all over the place in that Williams. Really struggling by the looks of it, just to keep the car on track. I want to see the line through there as well, as we see more yellow flags in Sector 1. It looks like an Alpine has spun into turn 1. As it undulates downhill and then straight uphill as well. The G-force on your back and neck must be extreme, especially in these cars. Must be hitting at least about 3G. As we now undulate back down the hill and then back up again, but it's a slope left-hander. I don't believe you'd be able to take that flat, as obviously the Williams is going purple so far. But I'm not too sure if he will be purple by the end of the session. The track may get worse, it may get blighter. We're not too sure at this current stage, but the Williams has done a fantastic job so far. He's currently in 10th place on the grid. He's going to be the first driver to set a lap as he comes across the line. As there's been a collision between two drivers, he nearly loses it in the final corner, but it's across the line for the Williams, and it's a 1:27.3. As we're going to cycle through the grid, because I believe there is somebody about to finish their lap as well. What colour car is that? I'm not too sure. I think it's an AlphaTauri. It is an AlphaTauri of Bugatti. And Bugatti can't go pole. It's only a 27.5 for Bugatti. As there's an Alpine about to cross the line as well, but it's an invalid. Oh my God, it's nearly actually hits the pit wall. So J Pudan is really having a mare so far. So we've got a Ferrari who's about to pit as well. Where's the other Ferrari? A lot of invalid lap times from these guys. As Cam Rules goes pole with the 1:27.1. That's a fantastic lap as we've got laps coming through thick and fast on the race circuit so far. Trying to find somebody that's not invalid. And oh, Kevin's all over the shop trying to start his lap. As Taze Leroy goes pole with the 1:26.3. As Cam actually invalidates his lap as Cam Rules goes off into the gravel trying to get out of the way of everybody. So it's a hectic start. It's a hectic start to this qualifying session. Is there anybody else that is on an outlap? We've got Infinity in the Alfa Romeo on an outlap as well. Let's see what she can do. We'll probably come back to her later as she looks like she's really tentative in these conditions. We've got Laggy TM on a lap in the Alpine as well. So Laggy TM, he's got his chance to shine. He's coming across traffic galore. There's IRL Neon in the Mercedes. Oh, it's the Alpines all over the place. I don't know if Jared's on a lap. I think he might be. He might be going for another one. So hopefully he's not going to hold up Millum too much. But Millum, oh, he doesn't hit the apex. Slides slightly wide as well as somebody's going to get right in his way. That is Kevin as he nearly loses it through the fast left-hander. Millum pushing the absolute most out of this Alpine so far. He's really going for it now. Down into third gear. A bit of a tighter line than some would expect. But he shifts up nice and early to try and get the traction down. As he now enters the nice and flowing Gulp corner, which is the final corner on the track. That is the actual name of the corner. As he's nearly lost the back end of Millum's round. Millum is round. He's pushed it too hard. Is he going to get in anybody's way? He's right on the racing line. Just get out of the way, Millum. Oh my God. Treacherous conditions has been Millum's downfall, but it looked like it was going to be a decent lap as well. As we're now going to see Jess in the Alfa Romeo start her lap. Let's see where she can put her car. I think what we'll do is we'll have a nice, calm, controlled lap just to see the potential of where the Alfa Romeo can go. As it looks so treacherous out there. Every time she puts the throttle down, she's going wide. Well, yeah, I'll leave you with Jess. We'll see what she can do, and then we'll be back in 1 second. As we've watched a pretty shaky lap from the Alfa Romeo driver, and she does come around the final corner. Is she going to lose it at all? No. Seems pretty alright. She's going to cross the line and set a 1:28.5. That's not too far off, to be fair. Considering there was a lot of shaky moments as well during the lap, that's not too bad. Keeps her in the top 10 so far. At least she's actually set a lap, unlike half of the grid as well. As we're going to see her teammate start a lap also, as I believe there's a Aston Martin trying to get out of the way of a few of the drivers as well that are on laps. There is a McLaren. I think that's Taze Leroy looking pretty feisty at the moment, so we're just going to switch to him. No, he's currently on an out lap, or he's invalidated. I've got IRL Neon actually, who's currently in third place in the Mercedes. That's a fantastic job from Jared, who looks very confident actually in these wet weather conditions to say that as he sets a purple sector 2. So Jared is really flying in this Mercedes so far. Locks up slightly, missing the apex into the second penultimate corner. Now we're into the penultimate corner. Let's see how he takes it. Nice and wide. That's how you like to take that. And then you're going to shift up nice and early. He's going to keep it in third. He's going to keep it in third and shift up nice and late. Jared Fosbury seems out one with the Mercedes so far. He comes to the final corner. Can't get it turned in. A bit cautious on entry. But here he comes. He was purple. But no, he's going to box. I hyped you up there, Jared. You boxed. Why did you box? What are you doing that for? As we've also got Bugatti, who's going to come around the final corner. So we see a spinner at the final corner as well. Alfie does improve, but doesn't actually improve his position. So, work to be done for the Alfa Romeo driver. AlphaTauri driver. Is there anybody else that's out on track? I know Kevin was on a lap as well, but I think he's invalidated. He has. Who else is out on track? We've got Kevin. who I think's just spun actually, or nearly spun anyway. He was on the way round. Bugatti is going to get out the way for people, so I think Kevin is the only one, and I think Lewis Curtis as well. But it's looking quite dry out there. I think the conditions are improving. If we're going to stay on board with Kevin, and then we'll switch to Lewis, the Ferrari at the end of the lap as well. 8 minutes left of quali, so plenty of time to scope out the conditions and maybe get a set of dry tyres on. Is there anybody brave enough to set the dries? Let's have a look actually. We'll change, yep, a lot of people opting in for the softs. As Kevin goes wide on his lap, and Alfie actually overtakes him. But I don't think Kevin's going to be very impressed with that. I think you want Alfie to move. I think Kevin's lap's over. Let's see where Lewis is going to qualify as well. Oh, he's really all over the place actually. Lewis, I think he's going to actually bail out, because we can see a McLaren on an out lap, and I believe he is on the soft compound tyres. So, yep. MCFC 2020 NSR. Let's see what he can do. He's going to be the first man I'm going to watch anyway. And here he comes down the start-finish straight. Let's see what this man can produce. I'm going to analyse him nice and closely through the first sector. But he's got traffic in his way already. He's eclipsed the apex nicely and doesn't run wide. Crucial. I think the correct strategy around here is mediums to about lap 20 and then the softs as well. As you see the Williams go pole with a 119.8. Let's see if that'll be competitive by the end of the lap. But it looks like the McLaren of NSR is going pretty quick. The hairpin looked quite fast in, but not fast out. So a bit cautious with the hairpin, especially on exit, as we've seen cars getting out of the way left, right and centre. It's like a car park. It's like the London Underground. It's just so congested at the moment all over the circuit. He's going to continue down now, 7th gear. Is he going to opt for 8th? No, not high enough revs as he downshifts beautifully, kisses the apex. A nice smooch on the inside as Cam Rules goes pole now, but I'm really fascinated by the McLaren driver's lap. NSR, MCFC. Where's he going to put it? Final couple of corners now. The tension's building, the hype's building. We've seen purple throughout the entire lap. There's 6 minutes remaining as Kevin bails out of the way. Is it pole position for the McLaren driver? It is. It's pole by a whopping 1.5 seconds. It's an 18.3 for NSR MCFC. Fantastic lap from that driver right there. That's a stunning performance. Let's see what his teammate can do. In the other McLaren, Taze Leroy, tipped to be one of the faster drivers on the grid this season. Currently undulating down the hill, 6th, 7th, even 8th gear as Laggy TM puts it on pole by a further 0.5 of a second. So Laggy TM takes provisional pole here at Portimao as yellow flags into turn 1. I believe that was just Laggy getting out of the way for his teammate. But this is really heating up now. Can Taze Leroy knock him off pole position? He had a few laps in the practice session to get his eye in, but I didn't expect him to be on pole. Here he comes now. Taze Leroy undulating down the hill. 180 miles an hour towards the line. Taze Leroy's going to go on pole maybe. It's a 116.4 for Taze Leroy. Smashes it out of the park. The track is getting faster and faster for these guys. Fantastic lap time. A 116.4 for Taze Leroy. Is there anybody else out on track we can spectate who's going to go anywhere far? We've got Alfie who's going to start a lap. I think we're going to keep an eye on him. He's been tipped to be one of the faster drivers on the grid today as well. Obviously one of the only pad users on the grid as well as Cam, or Toxic Tomato, goes P2 as well. That's a stunning lap from Cam. Nowhere near Taze Leroy, but puts him second on the grid at this current stage. The track does seem to be rubbering in nice and well as Alfie. Sorry, I had to squint there as he was going through the hairpin. Seemed to just lose the rear on traction, but Alfie's really going for it in the Alpha Tauri. It's a lovely helmet as well. Got a comment on that. Yeah, very nice helmet, Alfie. Really does suit the Alpha Tauri. But anyway, 7th gear, you've got to kiss the apex on the inside. Oh, you give it a lovely smooch on the inside as he's setting purples in sector 2. Is that an accurate purple? We're not too sure, but Alfioli, he's back with a vengeance in IRL. He's got a couple of corners to go before he crosses the line. Let's see where he can position his car as Bran goes 3rd as well, 1,000th of a second. Oh, he's invalidated. Oh, Bugatti is invalidated. That's an absolute shocker from Alfie. It was going to be a fantastic lap. But he's going to have to box. He's going to have one opportunity to get a set of softs on and get back out there. As we're now looking at Jay Pudan, who seems to be going quite well on the softs as well. We could finish this lad. I think he's going a slight bit slow on traction. I think he's struggling a bit there. As we're just going to go through the grid. Is there anybody else out on track that we can follow? As Nice and Spicer seems to have set a fantastic sector 2 as well. So we're going to stay on board with Nice and Spicer. Last couple of corners as well. The pure white helmet, Sebastian Vettel vibes from the Ferrari days. As he's going to come across the line in about a moment, 180 miles an hour, flat out through the final corner. Here he comes now. It's going to be a 1:17.9, which is good enough for 7th position on the grid. We've also got Tech 31 Racing, who needs to box and get a fresh set of tyres on as he nearly fucking plows into the wall. Needs to be a bit careful there. But he's currently in 8th position, so a solid performance from Ross at this current stage. Who else? We've got Kevin on and out. We've got Lewis Curtis, who looks like he's about to finish a lap as well. Here he comes, the Ferrari driver, the number 1 Ferrari driver, people may say. As he crosses the line, and it's P2 for Lewis Curtis. It's not pole position. Taze Leroy. Oh, the McLaren mechanics must be thrilled, as Taze Leroy's going to go out for another lap on a set of softs as well. But Lewis Curtis, was that his final run of the session? And I think it is. He really plows into a Mercedes coming back on track as well. Is there anybody else I can spectate? I've got Jess as well, or Infinity. She's on a lap as well. Not too bad on the entry, really kissing the curb. You want to go slightly wider. She takes a bit more of a narrow line coming into the corner, but she's going to go into the final corner now. Jess currently in P13's put on a set of soft tyres. Where is it going to put her? Is she going to complete the lap? She is going to complete the lap. Or is she? Oh my God, last minute decision. She nearly ended up in the pit wall. Oh my God. Crazy scenes here at Portimao with some drivers like Paco Suarez, Gravity and Hamrick haven't even set a lap, but Hamrick apparently he's purple. So let's see where Hamrick can put that Red Bull. I'm not too sure how accurate these purples are, but let's see what can happen. He's going to get some lovely dirty air from Kevin ahead, as there's only 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in the session. This will be the Red Bull's final lap to complete, and here he comes to the line. He's currently P19, but he's going to stick it. It's going to be a 1:17.3, and that's 7th position. That's a phenomenal lap from Hamrick. Fantastic performance from him. As we see Kevin go wide, that's the end of his qualifying, because that is an invalid. How is that not an invalid? That is an absolute disgrace. How is that not an invalid? Well, that's caught on camera anyway, so if he ever does get any positions, he needs to bail out of that, because that is disgraceful. Right, Kevin, not on a lap, can't be on a lap. Lewis Curtis, his qualifying's over. Cam, or Toxic Tomato, is going to be the first competitor, I think, or is Jared further down the line? Let's have a look. I think Jared's further down, so it'll be Jared Fosbury. He's currently sitting P13. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that, especially in the Mercedes, but he's going to give it his all. It's looking very nice so far. He does seem to take a liking to this track. He has mentioned a few times his 2 Alpines are just... I was going to say a rude word there. I stopped myself. They are caressing each other in the final sector as there's a collision with the Alfa Romeo, so that's not going to go down very well. Gravity, who should have bailed out of his lap, has actually caused an incident. So, very unfortunate there. But we're going to carry on with the qualifying session, as there's been driver displacements all over the field. Jared Fosbury will lead us to the line in the Mercedes. He's currently 14th position. Can he gain anything out of this qualifying time? It's looking pretty solid from Jared Fosbury. It's a 1:17.9, which is 10th position on the grid, which isn't bad so far. Where is Cam? Cam's going to be the first contender. He's 0.3 of a second up as Taze Leroy goes even faster. It's a 16.1 from Taze Leroy. What can Cam do? Is he going to be even close to the lap time? He's going to cross. It's going to be a 16.9 for Cam. He cements his place in 3rd. So far, there's going to be contenders all over the track. We've got Lewis Millam. We've got Hamrick, who's currently finished his lap. Who else we got on track? We've got Sondre, who's invalidated. Oh my God, we've got the Williams, who's 0.2 of a second up. If he's 0.2, he may snatch it off Bran in 4th place. Bran is currently invalidated as well. Lewis Millam has retired from the race, so I think he's crashed somewhere. So Millam will start 9th. Paco Suarez has just been promoted to 10th place as well, who has just finished. Gravity shouldn't be finishing this lap. Let's look at Ross Denham. Ross Denham crosses the line and Ross is in the top 10. Ross is in the top 10. It's a stunning performance. But where's the Williams going to go? It's currently 6th. It's 4th. And Alfioli as well pops into 3rd position. What a mental qualifying here in Portimao. Oh my God. And breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Whew. Wow. I think it was more hectic to keep on board with people at the right times as we see people flooding in left, right and centre for qualifying lap times. But it is this man right here. We're going to have a bit of an appreciation lap for Taze Leroy with a 1:16.1. The new Matthew Older maybe. Hopefully not. No offence, Matthew. But that is a phenomenal lap time. 0.5 of a second quicker than Lewis Curtis, who a lot of people tipped for the championship. Bugatti, not too bad as well. 3rd place with a 1:16.8. So yeah, not too bad there. Your top 3. You're going to see the top 10 on the screen as well, so you don't really need me to run through them. Only unless you're watching the stream with just the audio on. Which if you are, I do appreciate it. You know, I've got a lovely tone. A lovely raspy tone. As Lewis Millam is going to take a 5-place grid penalty for an incident that happened earlier in the qualifying session as well. Also, as we run further down the grid, is there any other penalties as well? It was Kevin with the 5-place grid penalty. Obviously, that will be looked at in the stewards panel later on today, maybe, if it gets posted in. But yeah, there you have it. Taze Leroy on pole, followed by Lewis Curtis and Bugatti, which is your top 3. Wow. Crazy scenes from Portimao so far as you're going to gear up for the race. Obviously, you've got the formation lap to go on as well. But we're going to have a nice quick breather before the start of the race here at the Algarve International Circuit. It's been a bit of a crazy quali. I wasn't expecting the dominance from Taze Leroy. 0.5 of a second is a big margin. But let's see if Lewis can either nab him off the line or potentially keep with him during the race to make it very, very interesting. Obviously, the strategy was medium soft, I believe. I was told by my reporters. But a lot of people starting on the soft tyres could be in for a surprise later down the line. Right, we're going to have a 1-minute interval while everybody loads in, and then we'll be back for the race starts. But it's going to get crazy here in Portimao. And we are back after the interval. As you see the drivers now lining up on the grid after the formation lap. Here are your drivers for the start of the IRL season. It's season 12 of the IRL. I can remember season 1. It shows how old I am. But enough about my age. Let's see these drivers line up on the grid. We've got Kevin to join the grid right at the back. And then we'll be ready to set off. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new IRL season powered by AWS. The pit stop strategies are a load of rubbish. So let's not be focused on them. But here we go for the start of the Portimao GP as the lights turn to red. And they're going to go out as Gravity actually jumps the start. And away we go for the start of the IRL season. Taze Leroy looks like he's had a fantastic start off the line. And Lewis Curtis doesn't seem to be challenging into turn 1. Or will he? There's going to be a crash maybe further down as people go 3, 4, 5 abreast. As people are all over the place. I think there's a Haas. I think it's Paco Suarez has caused an absolute massive incident. As there's also a Red Bull round. At the start, I think it's Hamrick. Hamrick is down and out down the field as Ross. So Tech 3-1 Racing has made up a few places as it looks like Cam's under pressure from the Williams behind as well. But it's currently Taze Leroy from Lewis Curtis and Bugatti, followed by Cameron in 4th as well. Excuse me, buddy. Oh, nearly stopped. Cameron's nearly off. Cameron's nearly spun. Oh my God, it's tension all over the place. As the Ferrari's going to go around the outside. What a move from Sondre Sorhaug. Fantastic racing here at Portimao. The Williams got caught out. Here comes Ross Denham. Ross Denham down the inside. Is it going to be a move of great proportions? There's contact as Ross is going to be mugged by Gravity. It's going to be mugged by Gravity who had a drive-through penalty. So his race is over. So he may as well just pit straight away to avoid all the crashes. He's going to cycle down the field just to see as Laggy TM's already up to P9 from P16. That's sensational from him. Laggy TM not using too much of the battery as well as the battles ensue. Laggy TM as Gravity bins it into the pit lane as Taze Leroy is obviously going to set the fastest lap of the race because he was the first one to cross it. Bugatti looks like he's all over Lewis Curtis as well as there's yellow flags at the back of the grid. That is Matt Romano. He is in no man's land. Matt Romano, I don't know if he's got damage or if he's just struggling with the setup of the car, but he is down and he's already out of the Portimao GP. It is recoverable for Bugatti, for Gravity, sorry, down there in P19. He's got a few competitors not too far away from him, as well as we see Ross Denham having another nibble up the road as Sondre has actually got past Cam as well. What a fantastic move from Sondre. Sondre, a man on a mission. He's always better in the race, Sondre. He's always better in the race if he doesn't bottle it. He's got the pace to be up there, and he's currently P4, so it's a fantastic start from Sondre. So we're actually going to have a look at some position changes, as we see there, as Cam goes wide again, and that's just going to allow the Williams to go up the inside. Cam is all over the place. I don't know what's wrong with that car so far, as Taze Leroy is looking to extend the gap past 1 second, as Lewis Curtis is actually holding up Bugatti. I think Bugatti, or also known as Alfie, would like him to get a move on. Also looking further down the grid is Millen. Closer, he is. Millen is closer. There's another yellow flag. It's Matt Romano. It's Nice and Spice. It's going to come under pressure from Jared. Jared's going to use a lot of battery, but Nice and Spice has got none. So Jared really does need to get this move out of the way. Use a bit more battery, Jared. Get him out of the way. Here we go. Nice and Spice is going to try and defend, but he's got no battery left. On the third lap, he's got no battery. He defends the outside. Jared goes through. Rubbing is racing, and he's not just lost one, he's lost 2 positions. So, in my opinion, Nice and Spicer just got to back out there, mate. There's no point trying to defend around the outside, especially into turn 1. And Jared possibly takes the place. As also, Laggy TM, is he going to have a lunge down the inside on the Williams? No, but he looks like he's setting fastest laps. As well as another purple sector, as Ross is actually doing quite well up there in 8th place. So, not doing too bad, especially with the assist changes that he's made. Has been mugged off by Laggy TM though, so Ross just needs to keep his head, keep his cool and keep it on the track, but he's currently doing a fantastic job up there in P8 as well. As looks like there's been a spin. I think it's Jay Pudan. Yeah, Jay Pudan is in the middle of the track. Let's just go on board to see, because there's another Haas off as well. I think Paco Suarez is in the wars today. Paco Suarez down there in 18th place is all over the shop. As we see more yellow flags, which I believe is Gravity. Yep, Gravity is looks to be out of this race after the mishaps further on during the race as well. And Bugatti with DRS should easily dispatch the Ferrari. It should be nice and straightforward going down the inside into turn 1. Yeah, with DRS, Lewis Curtis should just concede the position. We've also got Cam behind Sondre as well. Cam was behind Sondre. Cam's now back ahead of Sondre. But Sondre's not going to have any of that. He's going to go for a move down the inside. Is he Sondre? Go on, Sondre, down the inside of Cam. But obviously Cam's going to have the advantage having the inside for the next corner. But it does tighten up quite fast as Sondre looks to do the switchback. He's got the DRS as well. So Cam and Sondre having a fantastic battle down the inside into the chicane as they look into the hairpin as Lewis looks like he's gone wide as well. Lewis trying to fight back as Alfie cuts him off. And as Lucky TM down the inside into the hairpin as well on the Williams driver. As Cam trying to get past Sondre, but he can't do it. Sondre, an absolute masterclass in defence at the moment, doing the switch back for the DRS on the second straight. And then down the inside of the hairpin, there was no chance for Cam. So Cam, I think he wants some of his... it's a bit of a dive bomb. That is from the Williams. If he makes that stick, that's going to be quite a good move. But yeah, it's not going to work. Not going to work. Good effort though. I like the enthusiasm trying to go around the inside there. Just got to be careful you don't compromise each other too much, because Taze Leroy has built up a 2-second gap as Bugatti looks to build a second gap on Lewis Curtis as well. So it's really heating up here in Portimao as Cam looks to nab Sondre back. I think Sondre will do the same thing. He's not going to cover the inside, or is he? Sondre's going to slightly come over to compromise the line, but not much. It's like TM does have DRS as well. And then the positions do change. We're going to stay on board with Lucky TM because I think Sondre might have another nibble down the inside, but no. He's just going to stay there as there's an incident down to turn 1. I'm not too sure who that is. It looks like a Mercedes. I think it's Matt just trying to get out of the way of everyone. I think he's DNF'd. But anyway, Cam and Sondre continue into battle as Sondre goes round the outside. Is he going to do sort of a switchback undercut on Cam? It looks fantastic from Sondre. The helmet's really nice as well. Some digital matrix stuff from Sondre. Saw how as the dirty air is just compromising him as Cam gets the job done for now. But Cam, he can't keep it in a straight line and Sondre can't either. Oh, and there's contact and Sondre has hit Cam. Oh my God, it's all kicked off in the same place. Phenomenal racing has turned to disaster as Lucky TM says thank you very much. That's 4th place for me. Oh, sensational scenes here at the Algarve International Circuit as Lucky TM is promoted to 4th place and looks to hunt down Lewis Curtis, who seems to be struggling. He can't keep within the DRS range of Bugatti. But it's the man in front at the moment. This guy here, Taze Leroy, he's built up a 2.3 second gap. But Bugatti's got some raw pace, I tell you. In that AlphaTauri, he's coming. He is coming. And not in the way you thinking, you dirty-minded individuals. As Lucky TM, will he defend the inside? He is going to defend the inside as the Williams. He's going to swoop all the way around the outside. He's definitely going to get pushed wide. That may be a warning for him as well. As Sondre looks to try and recover from the mishap that happened earlier. I think it was very unfortunate for Cam as Sondre hit him, to be fair. Sondre just lost it and smashed into Cam after Cam lost it. So very unfortunate there as Nice and Spicer. Oh my God, Sondre, I think it's just hit the back of the Williams as well. So Sondre in a bit of wars, in the wars at the moment is Sondre. I think he just needs to recollect his thoughts and go from there. As Cam and Nice and Spicer are having a bit of a battle down here as well. As we're going to have a look as Cam around the outside. Very nice move. Coming into this section where it all went wrong for him. As there's more yellow flags as that's an Alpine off. That's Jay Poudan. Jay Poudan in the gravel on the soft tyres as well. He's going to rejoin in front of gravity. He nearly causes a massive crash. So needs to be careful when he's rejoining next time as there's more yellow flags. As we're going to cycle up to Sondre and Ross, because I think Ross is going to have a bit of a nibble here. I think Ross is eyeing up Sondre. So, as I take a well-needed breath, as Lucky TM looks like he's going to be under siege as well. I think we might have to cycle to that because it's a long-ass straight and that Williams has got a bolt of an engine in the back of that and does dispatch Lucky TM. But I think it's all part of Lucky TM's plan as there's yellow flags in the final sector. I want to say sector 2. And it was Paco Suarez. As Lucky TM looks to line up the Williams down the straight. Here we go. He's got DRS. He's not going to use any battery though, but it looks like he's just going to dispatch him down the inside into the hairpin. Job done, I think, if he gets a nice bit of traction. But no, the traction does favour the outside line. So Lucky TM has to fight again another day, I think is the best expression for that as well. As we see IRL Neon doing quite a solid job there in 8th place. Going along quite nicely, trying to catch the Haas. It is quite difficult with that DRS to try and catch as well. Does have Hamrick for company right behind him as well, who's recovered after a spin early on in the race into 9th place. Also we've got Cam trying to recover all the positions he's lost earlier in the race as well, currently in P12, but hunting down Bran Glover, who I thought would be doing a bit better, Bran. A bit disappointed in you, to be fair. You're normally quite solid, especially on the F1 games, but not having a bad race. He's currently in P11, not inside the points, but he's not having a bad race, just going along nice and calmly. Let's see what he can do later on down the line as well. As we're going to go on to Ross, I think, because Ross looks like he's going to have a nibble at Sondre. I think Sondre does have DRS, but Ross is definitely going to close. He's got plenty of ERS to use as well, if he needs it. Sondre will have a bit of battery to defend with. As I've got to give a shout out to Ross. He's had a fantastic race so far. He's not really been involved in anything, and he's been driving very clean and smooth at the moment. So he just needs to keep his head, keep his cool, and go from there. As Laggy TM just sitting behind the Williams for now. I don't think they're going to catch Lewis Curtis. They're currently 4.5 seconds behind him. Alfie stopped the siege on Taze Leroy as well. I think he's actually made a bit of a mistake because Taze Leroy has extended the gap to 3 seconds out in the lead as well. But currently the battle has to be 7th, 6th, 5th and 4th. Not for a podium place, but near enough. We've also got battles behind as well. Brian Glover, Cam and NSR MCFC. They're getting quite feisty, I think, but I think the mediums are coming into play. We're just going to double check the tyres as well, just to make sure what people are on. As you can see on the graphic, we'll keep it on this for the time being. As we're going to scan through to Ross, Laggy TM, see if there's any action further up the field. If not, we will go back to Cam. It looks like he's going to be all over the back of Brian Glover as there's yellow flags in Sector 2. I believe it's Gravity, just spinning again. Yep, it is. And also, if we scan back to Cam, he is going to have DRS, but so is Bran. Is he going to close at all? I don't think he will. He closes slightly. I know Bran is closing as well on NSR MCFC. But it's just gone a bit tame here at Portimao as Cam nearly loses the rear again. Trying to push that. Man's on roller skates at the moment. Ross trying to keep in touch with the guys ahead as well. Currently 0.8 of a second. He needs to keep it within the second. You need DRS around here just to stay competitive. I think these guys ahead realise that as well. Don't melt your tyres out too quickly. As 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th are actually catching 3rd place Lewis Curtis. So Lewis Curtis, obviously no DRS for him. Seems to be losing the time down the straights. Obviously he's got no dirty air ahead of him. He may have a bit of turbulent air as Cam picks up a 3-second time penalty. And I believe that's an Alfa Romeo retiring from the race. I don't know, Gravity's in the pits, but he's a lap down, he's got penalties galore, he may as well retire. I think he has as well. Yeah, he has retired as Paco picks up a penalty as well. But yeah, they are slowly but surely catching. I know Lewis is slightly losing out to Alfie, but it sort of levels itself out every lap. But Alfie to Taze Leroy is really losing time as well, so he just needs to be careful. As Bran, I think, has finally dispatched NSR. But I think NSR, he's actually tagged the back of Bran. He might actually get a bit of damage there. Not too sure, but Bran's going to cover the inside line, but he's not going to have a good exit at all, or is he? That was fantastic from Bran, actually. A really good exit, set himself well as he's going to cover the inside into the hairpin. And NSR MCFC is actually going to allow Cam pass because Cam's done an absolute dive bomb out of nowhere, and it seems to have worked out for him. NSR surely he's not going to go for a move there. Nope, the McLaren driver sits back nicely as his teammate storms off in the lead. It's currently 4.1 seconds. As we're going to go on board with Ross Denham. He's not picked up a penalty as well. Tech 3-1 Racing is doing a phenomenal job. You've got to applaud a man who was down and out in the previous seasons in IRL F3 at one point, I'm pretty sure, and then F2, and now he's in the big boy leagues and he's competing. He said he would. He's talked the talk, but will he finish there? Will he walk the walk as his teammate again? Paco Suarez spins out in the back of the field. I can see him on the minimap. It is at the second straight. As Lewis Curtis is the first man to pit. Let's see what Lewis goes on tyre-wise. It should be the medium tyres to the end of the race. That is a bit of an early pit stop, I think, from Lewis. As Bran is now under siege from Toxic Tomato. Will Cam go for a move? Probably not. He'll probably wait for the straight, and then he'll go on the inside into the hairpin, I think. If he doesn't lose it again, we haven't got ballast anymore, but I think Cam's running 11 biased if he is. Or ballast, sorry, not biased. than ballast if we had ballast still, because that guy's slipping and sliding all over the place. He's in third gear into the hairpin as well. An absolute madness from Cam so far. Obviously, everybody does get promoted. Let's see where Lewis came out, actually. It does say P14. Is he in any traffic at all? He's not, actually. He's in quite a nice pocket of space. So, Lewis Curtis, it could be a bit of a masterclass from him. Maybe he's thinking of Taze Leroy. I know he doesn't seem to be having the pace that Taze Leroy possesses at the moment, but he's definitely got the consistency so far as we've seen during the race. So if he can get a few good laps in on these mediums, it might actually be beneficial for him for the end of the race. Also, who else are we going to have a look at? NSR, as Paco finally retires from the race, will be in the pit lane, but Paco Suarez is out. As NSR, surely he's going to have a dig at Cam, especially if he goes that wide. There's Brown Glover pits. There's a few more people in the pit lane as well. NSR is getting very, very close to the back of Cam, but he's not going to make a move so far. Brandon Glover changing tyres. Cam Rule is going to change his tyres as well, but they are quite far down the field, so they're not currently in the way. Paco, I believe, has come out on a set of hard tyres. Obviously, Paco did retire from the race, so hopefully his car doesn't impede anybody else, as Ross looks really close to the back of Sondre so far. Oh, he nearly loses it there, coming over the crest. But Ross Denham so far doing a really good job. As the field seems to have just slightly simmered down a bit, so it gives me a nice opportunity to get some liquid into into the body. Well, yeah, as you can see from the field, it's Taze Leroy from Bugatti at the top as well, so that just stays the same. Obviously Lewis Curtis was up there, but he's pitted for mediums as Ross comes into the pit lane for a set of mediums as well, hoping to maybe jump the queue. I don't know, I think it's still a bit early for the tyres, but Ross seems to know what he's doing. So let's see where Ross will come out. I think Jared has pit as well this lap. So IRL Neon coming in as Lewis Curtis looks to dispatch Nice and Spicer. Hopefully Nice and Spicer does not move to the right hand side. There comes Lewis Curtis. Nicely passed from Lewis Curtis. And there he is, Lewis Curtis, free air to explore. He had a bit of DRS assistance, but he's called a bit of a masterclass in terms of position to come out of the pits. But let's see what he can do in terms of pace, because I believe he could take first away. Let's just double check actually the interval to the leader. So it's currently 30 seconds. I'm not too sure how long the pit lane is, but it is very, very close, or it will be very, very close. He needs to extract the most amount of tyre out of the mediums just to see where he can position himself though. As is anybody else going to pit this lap as well? I think Sondre's just out of DRS, so I think if Sondre slips out of DRS, I think he needs to pit. And I think Millen will pit as well if he slips out of DRS also. It's really getting tasty. As Bugatti comes into the pit lane this lap as well, will the Williams pop into the pits? The Williams does not. So Lucky TM does peel into the pit lane, and does Sondre also. So let's see where Ross... We'll check Lewis first, and then we're going to check where Ross is going to come out, because Ross could jump both of these guys. It could have been a masterclass from Ross. So here's Lewis Curtis. Lewis Curtis, will he come out ahead of Bugatti? Bugatti is exiting the pit lane. No, so Lewis Curtis, it was a blunder from Lewis Curtis. Not good at all. Where is Ross? Will Ross jump the guys out of the pit lane? I think he might get Sondre. Here comes Ross. He's going to go into turn one. Will Ross get Sondre? He's going to be close. Oh my God, they nearly touched Sondre. He's nearly spun. Coming out. Oh my God, but Ross has done it. Ross has done the undercut on Sondre, but the fresh tyres from these guys now is Kevin is actually in the way of Millen. So Lewis really does need to get past Kevin, or else he's going to lose time and maybe potentially lose positions. As Ross actually does do Sondre, which is very surprising. So Sondre very respectfully backs out into turn one. As Bran and Cam are having a feisty battle down here as well. I think I'll stay on board with them for a second. As Cam and Bran, I don't think wanted to be fighting each other. I think Cam wanted to be further up the field, but judging by the lack of spin, the amount of spins, as Laggy TM, that's a phenomenal move. I didn't get to see the start of it, but I didn't think he'd make a move there. But yeah, phenomenal move from Laggy TM as Kevin, then he runs straight into the back of him. Oh my God, crazy scenes as Ross just needs to keep it together. And then he'll get DRS down the straight. So Ross looks to be pouncing on Aspect. As Taze Leroy pits as well. I don't think he'll be bothered up there in first position. And here, Kevin, will he fight the position? Ross needs to get him out of the way. Ross needs to get Kevin out of the way. I think Laggy TM's pulled a bit of a masterclass here. Kevin actually defends the inside, which is probably going to be his downfall, as Ross is he's going to lunge round the outside. That's going to be a fantastic move from Ross. That's dirty. That is disgusting from Kevin. As Sondre's going to go around the outside of Kevin as well. So Kevin has blocked Ross off and allowed Sondre through. So Kevin really doing the dirty on Ross here. I'm not really too sure why Kevin's battling so hard, because it's got nothing to do with his race, but he is entitled to battle. I think it's a bit of a shame for Ross, actually, because obviously he's lost a bit of momentum onto Sondre. He did all that work to get past him, and to be honest with you, it's fair racing from Kevin, but it's too aggressive for the position he's in. I think if it was any other driver, he wouldn't be doing that, put it that way. But here comes Ross now. I think you just launch it, Ross. If it was me, I'd be launching it down the inside of Kevin, because he is being a right roadblock at the moment. We will stay on board for the time being. Why is he broke? He's just broke into Ross there as well. Make sure you don't get damaged, Ross. Just try and get past him clean as possible. Obviously, you might have DRS down the straight, but just use your ERS nice and easy, and you should be fine. Yeah, there you go. Just get past him, get him out the way. Get that roadblock out the way. As Jared looks like he's passing somebody in the pit lane as well. So Jared could be up for some good points as well during this race. So just having a scan through the field. Obviously we've got Bran and Cam having a nice good old tussle again as well. We've got Lewis, who's actually caught up to the back of Alfie. He is within DRS range. Obviously the tyres are a lot different in wear though. So you've got Alfie with 1 lap on the tyres, whereas Lewis is on 4. So Lewis does need to be slightly careful. He can't be pushing it too hard, or else he will be in a bit of a predicament. So Taze Leroy has pitted. I think he's made a mistake, actually. I've just completely clocked. Taze Leroy is down in 5th position, so I don't know if Taze Leroy had a penalty or if he had damage at all, but he is actually down in 5th position at the moment, which is currently 5 seconds off the leaders, as he does set the fastest lap of the race. So completely missed that, so I do apologise for any of the viewers at home, whether he may have had a coming together with somebody or something like that. But Taze Leroy is down in 5th. He has set the fastest lap of the race though, so we will see where it will position him. As Cam and Brandt still battling away down there in P11 and 12. Lewis Curtis, I thought, might have had a move on Alfie there, sorted, but I think these guys are playing the smart game to try and get away from Taze Leroy. So at the moment, NSR MCFC's driving a fantastic race. We've got Kai, who's driving quite a good race, currently in 1st. He is still on the soft tyres though, so I'm not too sure what his plan is. I imagine he'll pit probably this lap for his tyres and then take them to the end. I don't think he'll want to go any further, as he's looking to go into the pit lane. He is. So Kai finally pits away from these guys. Obviously, he was battling the likes of Laggy TM, Sondre and Ross, who were doing a fantastic job there in 6th, 7th and 8th, but we'll see where he pops out. So maybe he saw something that these guys didn't in terms of tyres, and let's see where he pops out as well. Obviously it was a few laps extra, so I don't know if he's got any damage or a penalty. It's a slow pit stop, whatever it is. But will he come out ahead of Lewis Millam? I don't think he will. I think Millam's got him. But who's he going to come out of? He's going to come out ahead of Ross. He's definitely lost 2 positions. He should have lost 3 if it weren't for Kevin. Kevin's absolutely finessed Ross. Yeah, I'd be having words with him after the race, Ross. I'll be telling him, what are you doing, mate? It's a bit harsh, to be honest. But yeah, the battle seems to continue. Obviously, Kai needs to get into the DRS, or else he's going to be a sitting duck for the likes of Ross behind. But apart from that, he's got fresh tyres. These guys have done 3 extra laps compared to him, as there's yellow flags in Sector 1. I believe it's J. Poodan. Let's have a look. No, it's not. It's Nice and Spicer, actually. He's made a mistake down there into Turn 1 and 2. He looks like he's out of the race. He's in 5th gear. I'm not too sure why. He's going to actually kill his gearbox as Bran and Cam dispatch Kevin. As Kai looks really quick on these medium tyres, actually. He seems to have heated them up nice and quickly, and he's actually caught the back of Sondre. Obviously, there will be investigations, I believe, with Sondre later in the race as NSR MCFC pits. As Lewis Curtis tries to keep with Alfie, but actually picks up a 3-second penalty. That's going to be crucial for the race. As Taze Leroy's on a charge, that has come down a second. He's got plenty of laps to go as well. He's got fresher tyres than the guys ahead, but it has come down by a second as Sondre and Kai are battling away. I've completely missed Kai actually going up the inside of Sondre. Sondre's going to try and keep it around the outside. He's got DRS as well. Here we go. This is what we wanted to see. The perspective of Kai down the inside. Sondre's going to hang it around the outside. He's going to get better traction as well if he keeps away from that curb. Will Kai keep the inside? He will. Sondre might have to bail out, and he has to. So Kai, fantastic move from him into 5th position. The Williams making inroads already. Laggy TM trying to branch away. He's currently 1.8 seconds ahead of this lot. If he can keep the gap, then he should be in a good place. As we see somebody go completely off the track. Is that Nice and Spicer? It is Nice and Spicer. As we go on board with Bugatti, who looks like he's made a slight error because Lewis is now taking the lead of the race. So Alfie making slight mistakes has actually cost him the current lead of this race. So the top 3, they're not immortal. Put it that way, they are not immortal. We've got Lewis, Bugatti, and we've got Taze Leroy currently occupying the podium positions. Not too far behind, we've got Laggy TM, Kai, Sondre, and we've got Ross as well, and they're not too far behind, about 4.6 seconds. We've got IRL Neon, who's having a very lonely race. I think it's about to get a bit more interesting with Cam on his arse, as people are really starting to pick up penalties now. So if you can keep out of the penalties, you're going to gain a lot of positions. Jared doing a fantastic job, no penalties. He's currently in 8th place, got some solid pace on him. He doesn't want to get caught up with these guys behind, because Cam's been basically a war zone this entire race, incident after incident. You got the likes of Bran, who's run a pretty solid race as well to keep with Cam. He's showed some pretty decent pace, especially on the medium tyres. And then also we've got Kevin, the boat, who needs to stop pitting. He needs to stop and pit, I should say. There we go. Alright, let's have a look further ahead. Laggy TM trying to make inroads on Taze Leroy. Taze Leroy still clearly looking the faster of everybody at the moment. He's got the gap down to 2.5 seconds to the likes of Alfie, and that's 3.5 seconds on the likes of Lewis. So Taze Leroy, even after the mishap that happened probably during the pit stops or a spin, he is currently sitting 3rd place and looking the fastest man out on track. As we see NSR MCFC as... Oh, it's Kevin. Kevin's just randomly spun out of nowhere. I think you've gone too long, mate. I think you should pit. Anyway, back to the action. Sick of looking at people spinning in the back. I want to see action. Alright. We'll try and keep an eye on it. As Taze Leroy, it decreases the gap even further. It's 2.1 seconds. And Sondre's nearly lost it. That's a great save from Sondre, but he's lost the DRS. I know he's got it for this straight, but he's lost the DRS to the guys ahead. That's going to be crucial because he might have conceded a possible P4 position. As now Ross looks to lure him in. At this current stage of the race, Sondre, I think, has just lost touch as Laggy TM. It's got Kai for company. Kai's been very impressive, actually, so far. But I think at this current moment, my driver of the day either has to be Kai or it has to be Laggy TM just for his starting position. I think late notice, didn't think he was racing. Got a bit of practice in with me doing the track simulation. But apart from that, he's not really done a lot of practice, and he's currently sitting in 4th place, and he's only about 7 seconds off a win. So, you know, it is quite good from Laggy TM at the moment. As Bugatti is reeling in Lewis Curtis, or has reeled in Lewis Curtis, as we're going to watch Kai steam on the back of Laggy TM. DRS boosted. No ERS though. That's something Miller needs to bear in mind. That guy ahead has no ERS, so he has burnt all of his ERS trying to get up to the back of you. As IRL Neon and Cam are having a bit of a scrap as well. I think Jared just lets him go. Jared still hasn't got a penalty as well, so if Jared can keep this pace up, keep with Cam, he's looking in a good position for a good points haul this afternoon. He might have a go actually down to the hairpin. Let's see what Jared can do. He's going to use a tiny bit of ERS to try and get to Cam. Is he going to go for it? No, backs out. Backs out on the throttle. I heard the de-acceleration as he went into the hairpin. So just backs out for Jared. Back out for Jared. Everybody else out on track, that's close. I think Bran and Jared are going to have a nice battle soon. And also Bran and Cam will probably have another battle as well, just for old time's sake. Right, so let's see what we can do. We've got 3/10 at the start. 3/10 at the start, 3/10 at the top. We've got 1.2 seconds back to Taze Leroy. We've also got Cam, and we've got Jared, and we've got Bran very close as well. We've also got Laitm very close to Kai, but Kai and Laitm not making any inroads now, as I think the battle for the lead's going to have to come into play at this point. Let's have a look, shall we? Is Millam going to make a move into the hairpin? No, he's not. Lewis Millam not going to make a move into the hairpin. Ross on Sondre, though. Ross is going to make a move. Sondre has the outside line, but Ross down the inside. That's a phenomenal move from Ross Denham. And Ross Denham takes 6th place in this race. Fantastic move from Ross there. It's been, I think Ross is in contention for driver of the day as well. I think he's been sensational. Sondre not looking to lose that place lightly. He's been in the wars a bit. Sondre during the race, maybe he's got some chassis damage, but Ross, that's a very good move from him into 6th place. I think any higher he should be prepared, but I think any higher is a bit out of reach so far, as we see an Aston Martin at turn 1. That will be Kevin, because he's on his own in the middle of nowhere, down there in 14th on fresh softs as well, spinning, so big issues there. I think, as I think sorry to everybody else, but we've got a top 3 scrap heating up here at Portimao. There is 10 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, including the one that we are on. We have Taze Leroy. We have Alfie Ollie, or Bugatti. We have Lewis Curtis, separated by a second. It's not been this close for a long time. It's the new season of IRL, and it's been a very impressive first opener, in my opinion anyway. I've tried to keep with all the action for as much and as long as possible, but it's been so hectic, it's been difficult at times. Taze Leroy, he's made a mistake, he's come back, and he's now on the back of Alfie. Alfie made a mistake in first place, dropped to second, but he's clawed back Lewis Curtis. Lewis Curtis pitted too early, in my opinion. He's got tyre saving to do. He also has a penalty. Will the other guys get a penalty? There's plenty of time to get some warnings and penalties. It's easily done. But they are separated by less than a second. It's really heating up here in the warm air of Portimao. The Algarve International Circuit is here. We are live. Lewis Curtis has no ERS, no DRS. Alfie Ollie has absolutely everything at his disposal, but is not going to make an overtake. Will he do it into turn 3? Alfie Ollie tries a sniff down the inside, but Lewis Curtis just cuts him off. Slight lock-up as we undulate up the hill into the second DRS zone. Alfie's got a fantastic exit. Here he goes. Alfie Ollie's got to make a move, surely, and get past Lewis Curtis. He has another sniff, but no. Does not opt to go for the move. Taze Leroy's lurking all over the back of this battle as well. It's really starting to ramp up here at Portimao as Sondre picks up another penalty, which is really not going to help his cause. IRL Neon looking to get a handful of points if these penalty situations keep carrying on. Doing a fantastic job in 10th place. These guys, I think Taze Leroy might have a bit of a move here. I think he thought about it going up the inside as Bran and Jared are going side by side as well. We're going to have a look at this. Jared, oh, he had to back out there, but very good driving from these guys. Right, back to the top. Will Alfie get the move done? I think Lewis Curtis is the cork in the bottle. Lewis is showing to be, in my opinion, the 3rd quickest driver. He's done a fantastic job to be up here, but I feel like he's just not got that cutting edge that these guys have at the moment. Alfie doesn't seem close enough to make a move. Taze Leroy seems close enough to make a move, but won't make a move. Alfie is going to go down the inside of Lewis Curtis into turn 1. No, he's not. He's going to actually bail out. Will he make a move into turn 3? I think Alfie needs to get it done now. Taze Leroy can't move. because Taze Leroy's going to get frustrated, I think, at one point. He's going to go for the move. Lewis Curtis is gone. Lewis Curtis is out of the race, surely. Oh, no. He's kept it on track. But there's a podium up for grabs. There is a podium up for grabs. Lewis Curtis rejoins the track. We're just going to go on board with third place. Lewis and Kai's going to be there as well. Lewis Curtis down the inside. He can't defend it. He's got gravel all over his tyres. And it puts Millam in contention for a podium as well. We've got Lewis Curtis, Kai and Millam. I think Lewis is going to bail out because he's got no traction as well, so he doesn't want to cause another incident. Oh my God. Here at Portimao, Lewis Curtis is binned it. And oh my God, it's freed Alfie and Taze Leroy. Whew. Okay, so we've got third place up for grabs. Lewis, Millam or Kai could get third place. We've also got Taze Leroy or Alfie that could get first. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. It has been a sensational drive from these guys. Lewis Curtis, he's called Mr. Bottle. Well, we've got Sandra, it's called Bottle, but Lewis Curtis ain't far behind as well. Bottling it again. And he's down in fifth. Has he got any damage? I'm not too sure. But he is currently still in contention for a third place slot. He's on the back of Millam. Millam doesn't have DRS on Kai as well, so he needs to use a bit of that ERS to try and get closer to the Williams to see if he can get DRS. Back to the front. Alfioli, he's going to have to defend the inside because I think Taze Leroy is going to go for it. No, he's not. Taze Leroy not going to go for the inside move. As we see an Alfa Romeo just moving out of the way nicely, so thank you for that. Not disrupting any scenes there. As you've got Lewis Curtis, Lewis Millam and Kai all battling for the last podium place as well. It's really, really heating, ramping, speeding, everything. Any adjective word that you can think of, it's just making everything fantastic at the moment. Wow. I can't get over how good this race has been. We've got Jared down there in 10th as well, who's everybody ahead of him has a penalty. So if Jared can keep it clean, Jared's really looking in good contention for a good handful of points. So just keep it on the track, Jared. Keep it nice and clean. You're looking in the money. We're coming into the penultimate corner. We've got Taze Leroy. He's on the back of Alfie. It should be a nice, straightforward and easy move for Alfie. He's going to try and cover the inside line, but there's powerless. He's absolutely powerless to Taze Leroy, who takes the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix, as Alfie actually messes up turn one quite horrendously, and it's going to cost him. As Lewis Curtis, he's battling with Laggy TM as well, so these two are going hammer and tongs as well. Look at these two, Lewis on Lewis. Action down there, the Ferrari versus the Alpine, Fernando Alonso versus Charles Leclerc, as Lewis nearly loses it again, trying to get on the traction, the same corner. Really, that rear axle working overtime to try and keep that car on the track. Mr. Millam obviously opting to stay in fourth. I believe he's trying to push, but he just can't get close enough to Kai to challenge him for the third place. That late pit stop for Kai has worked wonders for that man right there. Will Lewis Curtis even survive to the end? I'm not even too sure. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, there could be a rabbit that runs on the track at this point. I don't even know. That's not even programmed in the game, but I don't know what's going to happen. It's ridiculous. As Ross has succumbed to Cam down there in 8th place as well. I'm not too sure if Alfie will have a go on Taze Leroy. We'll go back onto them. It's currently 7/10 of a second. I think Alfie's played this quite smart, actually. I think he's allowed Taze Leroy, who sets the fastest lap of the race, who sets the fastest lap of the race, but he's allowed Taze Leroy to sort of take the lead with no ERS bearing in mind as well. And he's just going to farm the DRS. There's 4 laps remaining here in Portimao. Taze Leroy's in the driver's seat. Alfie's in the co-driver's seat. They could chop and change at any point during the race, we don't know. Lewis Curtis seems to be struggling with this uphill left-hander, and he's not got the confidence, as you can see. Lewis Millam must be rejoicing in the Alpine, knowing that his rival right behind him cannot seem to stick it through that section of the track. Lewis Millam just needs to keep his eyes focused on the Williams, and he should be fine. We've got Ross Denham as well, right behind Cam. So Cam and Ross doing a phenomenal job so far. Cam, a recovery drive back up to 7th position. I don't think he would have been with the top guys anyway. Didn't really seem to have the pace from what I was seeing, but he's done a very, very good job to get back up into 7th otherwise. Jared sticking as closely to Brandt as possible. I think 10th will be his finishing position, but let's see, because if Cam and people like this keep picking up penalties, this is going to be an absolute free-for-all for the top for top 5 maybe. So, it's all to play for so far here in Portimao. Alfie, I think, has made another mistake. I think he's sort of done an anticlimactic end to the race. It looks like he's made a slight error on the track so far, and it's allowed Taze Leroy that breathing room. So we're going to go off that battle for a second and go on with Lewis Curtis, who I think is getting a bit frustrated behind the likes of Lewis Millam now. He's trying his best to get past him. Will he have the confidence going up this section? No, he just doesn't have the confidence at all. Lewis Curtis, the second DRS straight, sort of a recovery DRS, because he just does not have the guile, the confidence, the anything to get up that left-hander. He's really, really petrified of losing it. And that's what he can do. It's more of a psychological game than a physical game, especially on the online scene. You've got the pace. We know Lewis has had the pace all race. He was challenging for first. But psychologically, he knows he struggled through that corner not once but twice, as we see yellow flags in the middle sector. And that is, middle sector, sector 1, nearly in the second sector. And that's Alfa Romeo, I believe, of Jess, I want to say. Yeah, it is. I think Jess on the medium tyres, who's made 2 stops down there, and 15th is down and out. As Hamrick picks up a 3-second penalty also. So, Alfioli, is there anything he could do to stop Taze Leroy? I'm not too sure there is. Mr. Millam, is there anything he can do to stop Lewis Curtis? I don't think there is. I think he will succumb to him at some point. IRL Neon, is there anything he can do to get past Bran? I don't know. But it's really, really, really close here at Portimao. Ross on Cam as well as another one. Cam on Sondre. That's a battle that's been waiting to be the final chapter of these two. They've already crashed once, so it's let's just see how it pans out. I think we take a few minutes just to appreciate how thrilling this first round of the Grand Prix has been. It's been fantastic. It's been exhilarating. It's been everything you want from a first round. We've not had many retirements. We've not had too many crashes. It's been a fantastic performance from certain individuals out there on the racetrack. Will Taze Leroy take the victory? We're not too sure. Will Lewis Millam get back in DRS? We're not too sure. Will Lewis Curtis get past Lewis Millam? Because it looks like he might do, because if Laggy TM does not have DRS here, I think he's going to really struggle to keep that Ferrari behind. Here we go. It's the penultimate lap of the race. Lap 32 of 33. Lewis Millam covers the inside line going into turn 1. Lewis Millam has to concede the position to Lewis Curtis. But it's not over yet, as Kai looks like he's struggling. So I don't know if Kai's made an error, because it looks like these guys have caught up as Lewis Millam is all over the place, trying to sort out a good save. But he just needs to keep it a bit cleaner if he wants to stay with the likes of Lewis Curtis down the section now. So, it's all to play for here in Portimao. We've got Taze Leroy, we've got Kai, we've got Sondre, we've got Lewis, we've got Laggy, we've got Sondre, we've got Cam, we've got Ross, we've got Bran, we've got Jared. That is your top 10. Not separated by very much. I think Jared's only, 20 seconds off the lead? So let's just double check the interval right there. So yeah, about 26 seconds off the lead. So that's a pit stop. So that's not too bad from these guys here. NSR thought probably could have got up there with the strategy that he pulled, but he's done a good job. It's a shame if he doesn't get any points. Anyway, here we go. This is what we want to see. I think Laggy TM on the final lap is not going to get any higher than 5th. He's out of DRS, and I think his tyres are shot. Lewis Curtis, he may challenge for 3rd, but he knows he's got a penalty, so it might be over for him as well. We've got Sondre, and we've got Cam. Round 2. Sondre and Cam round 2 with Ross not too far behind. So if these two crash, you know what's going to happen. Sondre is going to have to cover the inside line. Cam is frothing for that position. I'm not too sure how many penalties these guys have got, but it's going to be nip and tuck between these two. Sondre tries to cover off, but Cam is going to use everything in his power to get past Sondre somehow. You know it's bitter between these two. Sondre keeps the inside line going through the hairpin, but Cam round the outside. It's a phenomenal overtake from Toxic Tomato. That's sensational from Mr. Cameron Young, Mr. Toxic Tomato, Mr. Toxic Tomato 55389. Sensational performance and a recovery drive from him. It's been fantastic. It's been electric. As Ross has done a good job as well down there in 8th position. Right. There's yellow flags in the final lap as the Mercedes has spun. I think Jared's spun in the final lap. Jared has spun in the final lap. Oh, and all that hard work that Jared's come across is not going to come to fruition. But Taze Leroy takes the victory here in Portimao with Alfioli coming in second place. We've got Kai, who's driven fantastically in the Williams. He's going to celebrate that with open arms as Lewis Curtis looks like he's making a mistake at the final corner as well. So there's action all over the place as Laggy TM does pick up 4th position as Lewis drops all the way down. Cam 5th, but Sondre gets 5th. Now Lewis gets 6th because Cam drops from penalties. Ross in 8th position is going to cross the line, but he's actually going to lose it to Bran. Too many penalties for people, but Taze Leroy, after a phenomenal race, takes victory here in Portimao or in Algarve. Jared gets 9th position even after his final lap spin as well. Commiserations to him because he drove a fantastic race. But it's Taze Leroy, the man on top here in Portugal. He drove fantastically. He had a bit of an error during the pit stops, but he drove phenomenal. In the McLaren, takes the full 25 points away here in Portugal. We've got Alfioli, who drove a fantastic race, tried everything but made too many mistakes and gets 2nd place. We've got Kai, who was superb. He drove the perfect race from his position and managed to trump the opposition with a 15 laps on the medium. He did less laps on the mediums than he did on the softs. It's a fantastic performance for him, who takes P3, and Laggy TM from 16th on the grid takes 4th. Wow. I think driver of the day, I think Laggy TM, I'll have a look just to review the footage. It would have been Ross, but the penalties really did cost him. Jared drove fantastic, but the spin at the end, I think, took it away from him also. But here's your top 3. Taze Leroy on top. Wow. I just need to take a minute. That's a fantastic opener to the season. It's a fantastic start for Taze Leroy, fantastic start for Kai, and fantastic start for Mr. Bagato. I will get them for podium interviews now, if you bear with me 1 second as well. And I think we've got to get Laggy TM back in as well. He is my driver of the day. 16th to 4th is a phenomenal result from Laggy TM. Oh, sorry, 15th to 4th is a phenomenal result as well. I think shout outs to Jared as well, who drove brilliantly apart from that spin at the end to take 9th position from 13th. Also, I think commiserations to Lewis, who I thought drove brilliantly apart from his silly mistakes that he seems to make every week as well. Also, thanks to everybody who's been watching. Continue with the interviews as well as we will. If you want to stay tuned, you can hear the drivers' perspectives of what's gone on during this race. We've also got Taze Leroy with the fastest lap of the race, the 1:18.3. Whew. Right, let's get these guys in for comms. If you're appearing online, it'd make my life a hell of a lot easier. But knowing people, they probably are not. So we've got Alfie. Ooh. Do any of you have Kai as a friend? If you could possibly add him, and then I will get them. Make sure your voice is on shared as well for the people, so they can hear you. Yeah, I know. I tried grabbing him, but he left quite quick.
Who is it we need to add?
Just Kai. Double check if you can add him. Try and get him in. and we'll go from there. So, I'm just going to pause the stream for 1 second, just while we get everybody involved and everybody sorted, and then we can get back on air. So, welcome back. We've got the podium interviews underway. Also, we have Laggy TM as our driver of the day, so we will be getting his opinions on the race here at Portimao. But I think we start at the top. I think that's what everybody aims for, is the first place. And we move to Taze Leroy after a fantastic performance in the McLaren. I think the first question is, how are you feeling? And congratulations, first of all. But yeah, just tell us about your race.
Oh, great. So, I mean, obviously got pole after mixed Floyd, and at the start kept the lead, extended it, and then after I came out of the pits on my first stint, I got spun by Hammer, which was not fun. So I had to regain time on Alfie and Lewis Curtis. Lewis Curtis bottled as he usually does, so I just had to keep up with Alfie in the end. But yeah, it was a very enjoyable race. I was not quicker than the rest of the guys than I expected to be, but yeah, just really happy.
Yeah, you drove fantastic. Obviously, like you say, you took pole as well, so you will be getting them extra points. And also, you took the race win. Just run us through what happened out the pit lane. I know you said you did get spun by somebody, Hamrick, but just talk us through actually what happened during that incident. Do you think it was his fault? Do you think it was your fault? What's your take on it?
So it was coming down into the hairpin. I just met the pits. I was going down his inside, very very clean move, and he was on the outside. I thought I left him enough room. I think I still did, but I didn't leave him enough room, or he turned left a tiny bit. I think it probably is a racing incident. So. Yeah,
that's fair enough. You know, things happen. I think Hamrick would imagine would be apologetic as well. But yeah, just going back to your race strategy, I noticed you pit slightly later, especially than Curtis, and slightly later than Alfie as well. Was that always the plan? Did you always have to set in stone what lap you wanted to pit, or did you think like, I need to adapt to this situation, maybe the overcut is slightly better here at Portimao?
No, I just thought, because I didn't know how dead the tyres would be at the end, so I was thinking I'll go as long as I can. I mean, when I saw Lewis pit lap 11, I was like, okay, but then Alfie pitted in lap 13, I was like, okay, like, I knew I was far enough ahead where I wouldn't get undercut after like one lap, so I knew I could afford to do it. But yeah, I was just really trying to make sure the tyres made it to the end.
Well, here you have it. We've got the race winner here in Taze Leroy. We'll come back to you at the end, Leroy, as well for the final say. But we will move on to our second place finisher. You were so close. You were so close. You gave it a good go. Gave Taze Leroy a run for his money. I think a bit fortunate with the crash, but I know you had a few spins of your own as well. Just talk us through your race, Alfie.
Yeah, I think Leroy had the pace all race. No one was going to beat him unless there was a fortunate situation. And yeah, me and Lewis seemed to be quite similar. I think I was a bit quicker than him, but he was hanging on. Well, I dropped him a little bit, but he undercut me. And yeah, I think the racing was on if Lewis didn't spin. If I could have kept the DRS, I think maybe I could have won, but once Lewis spun, Leroy's pace was a bit too much. So yeah, but I'm happy. It was a clean race, and P2's not bad.
Yeah, it was. It was a brilliant performance. Kept me on the edge of my seat as well. Just take us through, obviously, you did have a moment when you were leading from Lewis Curtis. Was it just a normal spin, or did you lock up, or whereabouts was it?
So I was leading by about 1.5 seconds, and it was the, I think it's turn 8, you know, the uphill right-hander. a really annoying one. And I got on the throttle, the car went, saved it, got on the throttle again, car went, I saved it, got on the throttle again, and it went again. So it went 3 times in the same corner. So I didn't spin, I managed to save it, but yeah, somehow I lost the rear end 3 times in one corner, so that lost me 2 seconds. I don't think it changed the race though, but yeah.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Obviously, it was just a random out of the blue. I saw you leading at one minute, and then next minute Lewis was. So I was a bit curious to see what happened. Also, same question as Leroy. Strategy-wise, I know medium soft seemed to be the optimum strategy. I know it was wet in quali, so it did probably persuade people to put the softs on. But was it always lap? I believe it was lap 13 you pitted. So was always lap 13, or was there any had to adapt to the situation because Lewis pitted very early?
To be honest, I had no clue what lap to pit. At the start of the race, I was just kind of following everyone else. Yeah, I got some information that lap 13 was the best lap, and then Lewis pit very early. I was like, what's going on here then? And yeah, the tyres definitely could have gone longer, but you don't want to lose the tyres at the end, so don't pit too early. But the fuel was the main issue. It burns a lot around here. I didn't realise how much it burned, so the whole second half of the race I was saving fuel. That probably held me back a couple of tenths a lap.
Yeah, like I say, it was a very, very strange race. A lot of mistakes made. It wasn't just you guys at the front. There was a few incidents further behind as well. I think Lewis, like TM, had a few moments that he saved during the race as well. But yeah, congratulations on second place, Alpha. You drove really well. And if it weren't for Lewis being his normal self, I think we could have had a 3-way battle for the win. But yeah, we will move on. To our driver of the day. Unfortunately, Kai's not here, so we can't talk to third place. Or is he? No, I don't think he is. No, he's not. So we will move on to Laggy TM. You were my driver of the day, 15th to 4th. I know there were a few positions, maybe I think the 4th at the end because of Lewis spinning probably wasn't on the cards, but you drove fantastic. Straight through the field. Had a fantastic, believe you were up to 9th in the first lap, so it was a brilliant start from yourself. Like I say, just talk us through your race.
Well, I had a really bad start, so I thought I was going to lose some positions, but everyone just kind of checked up into turn 1. And then I got up to 9th by the end of lap 1, and then just tried to get my way through the field every lap or so. And obviously some people made some mistakes, which made it a little bit easier. And yeah, I thought I could have had the podium. I definitely thought I had the podium, or the chance for the podium, especially after Lewis made that mistake. But my sister walked to my room, which is where I got a pen. And she started messing around with stuff in my room, so yeah. But other than that, yeah, it was alright, considering I played the game in like 2.5-3 weeks before today, and then doing obviously a couple of laps before, I'm pretty happy with it, yeah.
I know obviously you had some close battles with Sondre, with Ross at one point as well, and also with Kai. Kai, his strategy was odd, but he just seemed to have the edge. Just in the last stages, he pitted, I believe, lap 16 on his set of softs, and then actually did more laps on his softs than he did his mediums. So it was a bit of a crazy strategy, but it seemed to work out for him. Do you think you could have had him at the end of the race, or do you think he was just that slight bit quicker than you?
I think in the end his tyres benefited him a bit. They've done 4 laps less than mine, so it got to that stage where it was pulling a couple of tenths a lap, and I was low on ERS, so I was trying to push as hard as I could, but obviously when I got that penalty and then I saw Lewis had 6, I didn't really see. I just thought I might as well just cruise it to the finish. I'm not going to get third and I'm not going to drop any lower, so there was no point in taking any risk for anything.
Yeah, like I say, it was so close between you guys as well. I know Sondre was clinging on, Cam was there at one point before there was a bit of contact. I imagine that'll be in the stewards at some point as well. But yeah, I thought you drove amazing. You know, like I say, 15th to 4th place isn't a small feat, and considering you had, 10-20 minutes of practice with me before the race, it was fantastic, so congratulations to you. I will go back to Leroy, just the last question of the interview, which is Silverstone. It's the next round. How are you feeling about Silverstone? A heavy wheel track. I know for Alfie's probably seething in his chair just thinking about it. But what's your opinions on Silverstone, Leroy? Are you looking for another win, or are you going to struggle?
Well, that's even if I'll be there, because I'm a reserve at the moment, but if I am there, it's for me, it's an alright track, not one of my best, not one of my worst, so if I am there, just hoping for a top 3 again, that's really the best. I doubt a win would be more harder now, because it is a wheel favoured track, to say the least. Yeah,
exactly. Like I say, Silverstone, very, very tricky, especially through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel on the pad. But we'll go to the only pad user here. Alfie, what are your opinions on the upcoming Silverstone round?
Probably not going to go very well, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think any points will be a success because I like track in real life, not on the game, and turn 1 and cops are death traps.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it's going to be tricky. I know firsthand being a pad user as well. Silverstone's never been a stomping ground for me. I think my highest finish in any league's been about 6th, so it's not been the best personally for pad users. And we'll finish it off with Lewis. Silverstone, like I say, wheel track for yourself. Probably do a bit more practice this time if you get to race. How are you feeling about it?
Well, yeah, if I get, I'd like to race because usually my pace around Silverstone's quite good. Obviously, it is a wheel favourite track, so I feel like if I could do a bit of practice, the podium, I could, probably challenge for the podium if it's the same few people. But yeah, I'll be doing the track guide anyway, so I'll be able to get a few laps in regardless. Just to know how to do some practice. So yeah, we'll just have to see if people don't turn up and I get a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Well done to all of you. I thought you drove brilliantly. Shout out to Jared as well, apart from the spin in the final lap. I thought he drove fantastic as well. And also shout out to Kai, who's obviously not here to join us for the podium interviews. But yeah, that's been Portimao, the round 1 of IRL season 12. Can't believe it, season 12. I'm Lordy MK. I will be here next week as well. We'll do the pre-race stuff and we'll sort it all out with you guys as well at home. If you have any questions, give me a DM on Discord. You can probably jump in and have a bit of an interview with me if you guys want as well. But yeah, I've been Lordy MK. I will see you next week. Yeah, take care and goodbye.